West, 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 West. This the West, 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 the West Coast. This the West, 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 the West, West. This the West, 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 the West Coast.
We back, West Coast Mindset. As always, I'm your host, Alberto Lucero. And man, was it a wild week of sports. A lot of stuff to talk about. But today, we're going to start with a bit of a sad moment in women's college basketball. With USC superstar Juju Watkins going down with a torn ACL in their blowout win against Mississippi State last Monday. It will require surgery, and USC will have to go forward without their superstar, putting a lot of pressure on Stanford senior transfer Kiki Iriafen to carry the load. And man, it was just tough. I was watching this game live, and if you watch the play, Juju Watkins was going in transition after he got a steal. She was in between two defenders, and the two defenders closed her out, and you can see her knee just buckle. And it was just a sad thing to see. You can see she was writhing in pain. She was just screaming from the top of her lungs, and it was just sad to see. And it's a big loss for not just USC, but for women's college basketball in general. After Caitlin Clark left, this was the next woman to take control and be the next superstar, not only of women's college basketball, but going into the WNBA as a whole, because she has it all. At 6'3", she can handle, she can shoot it, she's athletic, she's an amazing talent, and I think she can be even better than Caitlin Clark was and is right now in the WNBA and when she was at Iowa. And man, it's just sad, and yeah, it puts a lot of pressure, like I said, on Kiki Iriafen, the transfer from Stanford. And I just don't know if they can beat UConn, because UConn has the potential number one pick this year in this year's WNBA draft in Paige Beckers. And they look like a loaded team, and they look ready to win the championship, like destined to win the championship. So yeah, it's just sad. And I'm just hoping the best for Juju. She's a great person, and and you can tell she has the drive to be great. And I think she'll come back better. And if I was to expect, she'll probably come back around maybe the end. There's a chance maybe the end of the season next year, maybe mid-season, depending on how good the surgery goes. But it just depends when she gets the surgery and when her rehab starts. But yeah, it's tough, and I'm just hoping the best for Juju and for women's college basketball as a whole, because to be honest, I really am more into the women's game than the men's game, because the men's game, the problem with them is, like, yes, Cooper Flagg is out there, and Cooper Flagg has been outstanding, but when it comes to the overall star power of men's college basketball, it's just not there other than Flagg. And when you look at women's, like you got Juju, you got Paige Beckers, you got Haley Van Lith, and you got a lot of star power going into the WNBA. And that's only going to be better for the WNBA going forward, getting all those star players to go along with the two rookies that came in last year, Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. So the women's game is only getting stronger and stronger as the talent gets better and better over these next couple of years. But yeah, Juju, get better, girl. We're rooting for you. You're going to come back stronger and better than ever, and we can't wait to have you back in the sport and see you go to new heights. And now let's go from a somber story to a story that really grinded my gears this week. So Doc Rivers had an interview with Mark Spears from ESPN, and Mark Spears asked Doc Rivers what it's like dealing with blowing 3-3-1 leads in his career. And Doc Rivers said this, quote, "No one tells a story. I'm fine with that. It's unfair in some ways. I don't get enough credit for getting the 3 wins. I get the credit for losing. I always say, what if we had lost to Houston in 6? No one cares. One of the things that I'm proud of is that we've never been swept. All the coaches have been swept in the playoffs. My teams achieve. A lot of them overachieve, and I'm very proud of that." All right, Doc, look, man. You cannot say stuff like that, especially publicly. It's one thing to say it privately, okay, like you want to do best for your pride and stuff like that and make yourself feel better for doing that. But when it comes to saying it publicly, it's a bad look, man. Come on. You're better than this. I mean, you were lucky to get the Bucks job as is anyway. And, of course, you're underachieving right now. But I will give you do have a bit of a mulligan this year because Damian Lillard does have the blood clot issue, and he's out for what looks like maybe until the playoffs or the whole season, depending on how bad the blood clot is. But Doc, you cannot be saying stuff like this. Look, you've blown three 3-1 leads. You've blown two with the Clippers in 2015 and 2020, and the 2020 choke job was pretty bad in the bubble. They were up 3-1 against the Denver Nuggets, and they were destined to move on and play the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals that year. But Kawhi Leonard and Paul George and Doc, when it comes to making adjustments, they just completely melted down, and it was bad. And then in 2015, with the Lob City Clippers, with Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan, and Chris Paul against the Houston Rockets, that was a total meltdown. They had the Rockets beat, and they just completely let their foot off the gas pedal. The one that I'll let them off the hook with is the one in 2003 with the Orlando Magic. You know, that was a young team. No one was expecting them to be that good and to move on that far in the playoffs. So I'll give them that. But even then, you have to get the job done. And he did win one championship with the Celtics in 2008 with Ray Allen, Paul Pierce, and Kevin Garnett. But in my opinion, honestly, I think he underachieved as coach for the Boston Celtics. With that big three, you have to win at least two. They did get a chance to play the Lakers in 2010 finals, but they lost that series in 7. And yes, you can say that you can make an excuse. Maybe Kendrick Perkins got hurt, and they lost a couple of other players. But still, they were in that Game 7, and they were right there when it comes to beating the Lakers. But the Lakers were able to come back and win that series and win that championship. But Doc Rivers, you're better than this, man. You cannot be saying stuff like that. And I already think you're the most overrated coach in the NBA history, and this just solidifies that. So, Doc, get it together, man. You got Giannis Antetokounmpo, a top 5 player in the league. I get it. You don't have Dame, but you should still be able to get into the playoffs this year. And right now, they're a top 4 seed in the Eastern Conference. And figure it out, because your time is dwindling, man. If you don't figure something out, and Giannis may want out, and he may want to move out of Milwaukee, and then where do you go after that? So I just don't see this being a good look for Doc. And Doc, you got to be better than this, man. Figure it out.
Let's pick up here.
And now let's move on to the NFL and the New York Giants, signing Russell Wilson to a 1-year deal to make him the starting quarterback in New York. And yeah, the Giants may finally be doing something in the right direction. This is a good move for the Giants. You get a veteran in there, and Joe Shane and Brian Daboll are both fighting for their jobs, the head coach and the GM. They need something and to be better and to show the fan base that there's hope to be better in the future, because the Giants, they have been a laughing stock for the last couple of years with Daniel Jones, the quarterback, and with the way that the team has been ran upstairs and on the field. And yeah, they got to figure something out because it was just terrible. And this is a good move for them. They got a veteran quarterback in there to lead the troops. They should be able to get at least another 3-4 wins to the season. And this is a good building block, because they have their pick in this year's NFL draft. And there's a possibility that Shedeur Sanders, the quarterback out of Colorado, could fall to them depending on what the Cleveland Browns do with the second pick. And if they get Shedeur Sanders, sit him down, let him learn, because I personally don't think he's ready to step into an NFL offense right now and start week 1. So you got Russell Wilson there, and he can win you a good 6-7 games. And you let Shedeur sit, learn from him, good veteran presence, and get better and better. And who knows, maybe the Russell Wilson will do good, and they could possibly sneak into the third wild card spot and make the playoffs, or just miss the playoffs. But that's a building block that I'm sure Giant fans would love to see. Even if they'll make the playoffs, as long as they see that their team is going to make an improvement, that's good. And it's only a 1-year deal, so Russell Wilson, if he leads them to success, good. If not, you can cut him. You can let him go. And Shedeur will be ready to go. And this is a good move. And the Giants do have a couple of good pieces. They got a couple of good receivers with Malik Neighbors and Darius Slayton. They got a good running back with that rookie they had last year. And the offensive line is slowly starting to get better. And that defense is pretty good. That pass rush was one of the top pass rushers in the league last year. The corners are pretty good. And yeah, they're a team that could possibly get better in a good 2-3 years, depending on who's the quarterback under center. So I think if you go with that formula, you get Shedeur Sanders, let him learn, and give him time to get into the fold and slowly start to get into the offense and be comfortable with the offense, the Giants can do something. And they got to do it fast because the NFC East already is a gauntlet as it is with the reigning champions, the reigning Super Bowl champions, the Philadelphia Eagles, and the Washington Commanders. The Cowboys are not as good as they've been the last couple of years, but they'll be okay. They're still better than the Giants. But they got to figure something out because, yeah, that division is loaded. And this could be a good step in the right direction for them. And I think this could save Joe Shane's job and Brian Dable's job going forward and just give the Giant fans some hope because, like I said, it has been a nightmare situation for years. So Giants, don't mess it up, man. And let's close it out with America's pastime. Of course, opening day was last Thursday, and I want to give my predictions for this upcoming season. Starting with the Rookie of the Year. In the American League, I have Jack Leiter, the pitcher from the Texas Rangers. Good stuff, and I think he has a chance to be really good in this league. Of course, his dad, Al Leiter, was a good pitcher before him with the New York Mets, and he played for a couple of other teams and had a pretty good major league career. And I think Jack can be even better because he has the ability to be an elite pitcher and maybe be the ace of that staff in the future. So I got Jack Leiter out of the American League. In the National League, I have Roki Sasaki, the Japanese phenom from the Dodgers. He has a chance to be great himself, and he has less pressure on him because he's in a loaded rotation with the reigning champs. And yeah, I think he can be great. Although he has struggled a little bit when it comes to going deep into games. In the Tokyo series, he only went 3 innings and threw a lot of pitches. Gave up 1 run, which is not bad, but he needs to start to get better when it comes to going deep into games. His second start in America at Dodger Stadium, he also didn't go that deep. He gave up 2 runs against the Tigers and only won about 3 innings, and he wasn't that good when it comes to length as well in that start. But the more and more he gets comfortable, I think he'll start to figure out how it's like to pitch in a major league season, and when it comes to endurance, and I think he'll start to get better and better and try to not throw too many pitches in every inning and go deep enough in games. So I think he'll get better, and yeah, I got him as the Rookie of the Year in the National League. Now to the Cy Young. In the American League, I got Cole Reagans, the left-hander out of Kansas City Royals. This kid was really good last year for the Royals. He was tops in Cy Young, and he has good stuff. Good curveball, fastball combination. His velocity was the highest of his career, and he finally figured out how to put it all together. And yeah, he's going to be a really good pitcher. I think he's going to take even more of a step this year because the Royals have a good team, and I think they have a chance to win the AL Central and go pretty far in the playoffs in a pretty weak league in the American League. In the National League, I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. I got Paul Skeens from the Pittsburgh Pirates. This guy is the chosen one. He has the chance to be the next great pitcher of this generation. High 90s fastball in the hundreds actually. He can throw up to 102. He has a nasty slider combo, and he has this pitch that's borderline unhittable. He calls it a splinker. It's a splitter mixed with a sinker, and it's disgusting. Like nobody can hit this pitch. It is unbelievable, and he has the looks to be the next great pitcher, and I think he's gonna win the Cy Young this year, and probably win another couple in his career because this kid is the real deal. MVP out of the American League, I got Bobby Witt Jr. I know Aaron Judge is the stranglehold for this award the last couple of years, but I think he's going to have a bit of a decline this year because the Yankees lineup is not as powerful as it was last year with Juan Soto. And Giancarlo Stanton is hurt to begin the season, so I think his numbers are going to go down a little bit when it comes to RBIs. And Bobby Witt is only going to get better. He won the batting title last year, and this kid is an absolute superstar. And I talked about the Royals with Cole Reagans. and their overall team is really, really good. And I think with him leading the helm as their star player and Cole Reagans, I think he's going to have a great year this year. He can do everything. He has for power, for average. He's an elite base runner, elite defender. And yeah, I think he's going to have a great year and be the MVP in the American League. In the National League, I'm going to say it back-to-back for Shohei Ohtani. Think about it. Last year, he won as a DH, hitting 54 home runs and stealing over 50 bases, being the first player ever to have the first ever 50-50 season. That was incredible. And this year, he's in the pitch, so that has even more to his resume to be the MVP this year. And he's already out the hot start at the plate already. He already has 2 home runs, and he's hitting pretty well as a leadoff hitter, and he'll probably be the leadoff hitter for the rest of the season. So he's only going to get more at bats, and his numbers to go up a lot. And we still haven't seen him pitch this year, but from his body of work last couple of years, he has the stuff to be an elite pitcher. So if he does both at the same level, I just don't see nobody else being better than him. Like he's the best player in baseball for a reason, and I just think he's gonna win the MVP again. It's the Ohtani Award going forward for the next couple of years. That's just what it is. And my World Series prediction, I got the Dodgers and the Boston Red Sox in the World Series. And I got the Dodgers winning the championship and being the first team to go back-to-back in 25 years. The Dodgers have it all when it comes to the pitching. Last year, their pitching was not as strong going into the playoffs in the starting rotation. But this year, they loaded up. They signed Sasaki. They signed Blake Snell. They're getting Tyler Glasnow back after of injury. He didn't pitch in the playoffs last year. They're going to get Tony Gonsolin back. And Dustin May is also back. And, yeah, that starting rotation is just loaded with talent. And not to mention Kershaw. He's coming back and signed a one-year deal in the free agency to return to the team. But he'll probably come back around the All-Star break because he has an injury to his shoulder. But along with that, the starting lineup is elite with Ohtani, Freddie Freeman, and Mookie Betts. Teoscar Hernandez has been matching the ball right now in the first couple of games, and he's been great. They re-signed him. And the bullpen, although it's injured right now, it's only going to get better because Michael Kopech will come back. Evan Phillips will come back off of injury and add to that already loaded bullpen with Tanner Scott, Kirby Yates, and Blake Treinen. So the bullpen is loaded. And yeah, the Dodgers have everything that they need to win the championship again this year. The only thing stopping them is health and just their level of hunger, because what I'm worried about is that, yes, they look great. They're 5-0, but I just don't want them to get too comfortable. You got to keep the hunger, keep your foot on the gas pedal, because they're going to get every team's best effort every single night because they want to prove that they can show the Dodgers that they can beat them when it matters most. So the Dodgers have to keep the hunger and keep the effort going when it comes to winning another championship. And in the American League is a little washed compared to the National League. The National League is loaded. But from the teams I've seen in the American League, I think the Boston Red Sox have the best chance to challenge the Dodgers when it comes to the World Series. They traded for Garrett Crochet, the left-hander out of the White Sox. He has great stuff, high 90s fastball, good curveball slider. So I think he's going to be good leading the rotation. And they have a pretty good lineup. Rafael Devers, although he is off to a pretty bad start in the first couple games of the season, but he'll figure it out. He's an elite slugger from the left side. They got a top 3 center fielder in Jarren Duran. This kid is really good power speed threat, and he's a good center fielder. And then they signed Alex Bregman from the Houston Astros. I think his swing is perfect for Fenway Park because he has a good line drive swing, and he's going to get easy doubles hitting out the monster over there in Fenway. So that lineup is pretty good. And they got that other pitcher, the other Asian first baseman. He's pretty good. And yeah, the Red Sox have a pretty good team, and I think they can get out of the American League. Although the Houston Astros, of course, they're always around. The Yankees, I just don't know if the Yankees are healthy enough because they're Garrett Cole, their ace, is going to have Tommy John this year, so he's out for the season. And they lost Juan Soto, so I just don't know if they have enough to get back to the World Series again this year. So I got the Red Sox. And yeah, Dodgers, Red Sox in the World Series. and I got the Dodgers winning the championship again. And yep, it's going to be a dynasty for the Dodgers. I believe it. It's going to be a fun season, but you never know. Baseball's a funny game. There's a reason why there has been a repeat championship in 25 years. It's the ultimate game of parity. So MLB fans, look forward to the season. It's going to be fun. And I want to thank you guys again for watching the West Coast Mindset Sports Podcast. Feel free to leave a review, subscribe, rate, review, and follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I got my social media handles right here, so give it a follow. And yeah, I'll see you guys next week, and I look forward to getting more stories and get better and better with the show. And yeah, it's only the beginning. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'll see you guys next week.
This the West, 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 West. This the West, 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 the West Coast. This the West, 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 the West, West. This the West, West, West.